James Turner for the untouchable True School Sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I want to come on here and just sound off on this news from yesterday because it was disappointing news. Like I feel like this rematch, it's a good rematch, but it's not what we were promised as boxing fans, and it's not what we had been sold. So let's talk about it. So Sebastian Fundora was fully expected to defend his title and do a cross-promotional fight with Xander Zayas. Now, obviously, Fundora versus Zayas would have been very intriguing because it would have been a PBC versus Top Rank fight, cross-promotional fight, but it wouldn't have been like a big cross-promotional fight. Normally, when PBC and Top Rank do business, they generally tend to allow the fights to get very big before they do big unification cross-promotional fights and or undisputed. This was not the case. Fundora is not the biggest. He's not a big star at all, honestly. And Fundora and Zayas isn't a star either. He's a rising star, but he's not there yet. So this would have been I feel like a good time for the careers of both men. I think the fight made a lot of sense. We were sold the idea that that Top Rank and Bob Arum have been speaking to PBC and Al Heyman because Bob Arum was saying it himself that they were going to make fights to compete in the marketplace of boxing, to compete with Turkey Al Sheikh in Riyadh season, because now with Dana White coming into the fold, it's kind of changed the dynamics of boxing. So that's not happening because Sebastian Fundora has formally decided to vacate his WBO title, and he will instead of fighting Xander Zayas, he'll be taking on Tszyu, which him fighting Tszyu also creates another issue upon its own because Tszyu was supposed to fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman and Tszyu just both wasted a tune-up fight. Tim wasted a tune-up fight against Joey Spencer. Keith wasted a tune-up fight against Brock Jarvis. They both wasted tune-up fights in Australia to not fight each other next. So I feel like Tszyu wasted Keith Thurman's time. I feel like that whole spiel in Australia with them taking these tune-up fights to inevitably build towards fighting each other, that was a waste of time. And now, I saw Bakram yesterday on Twitter, Bakram Murzaliyev, the IBF champion. I saw him tell Keith Thurman, he said, hey Keith Thurman, and he put the winky face away. Is Keith Thurman going to go fight Bakram? I mean, that's a whole another thing on its own. But this is what I'm saying, man. We as boxing fans can get sold the dream of cross-promotional fights, but now we're seeing otherwise, and it really doesn't make sense to me because Sebastian Fundora just fought in Vegas, and when he fought his last fight in Vegas against Cordell Booker, he could have hugged everyone in the crowd. It was that small of a crowd. So I feel like the Zayas fight would have been a great time for him to stick his flag in the ground, boost his profile, boost his stock, and it's a fight that a lot of people were picking him to win. I thought it would have been really intriguing because Xander, he was the youngest fighter to ever sign with Top Rank. I think he signed with Top Rank around 16 years old. And so I feel like Xander, even though he's so young, I think Xander's 22 or he's not that old, but it feels like he's been around longer than it feels like he should be older, but he's not older. So we've all got a chance to see the development and the rise of Xander Zayas, and we want to see Xander Zayas in a big fight. And I feel like it was the right fight at the right time. He came here to Vegas. When he got here to Vegas, he basically was calling out Fundora to his face, and it didn't happen. So style-wise, it was going to be a really intriguing fight. Fundora with the volume punching and being so tall. How does Xander get past that? How does Zayas deal with a compact, improving, more physically matured Puerto Rican boxer puncher? That was going to be intriguing. So I feel like the boxing fans get robbed, and the thing about boxing in these fights is that it's all about timing. It's all about not just the fights getting made, but when do they get made? You know, what kind of form are these fighters in? What stage of the career are they at? You know, all that plays a big role, and I just think the boxing industry blew it big time here, if I'm just being honest. So very disappointed, very disappointed. Going back to you know, the whole situation with, you know, now Keith Thurman and Tszyu isn't happening, and that fight was supposed to happen in March of last year. Now it's not happening at all. So I think, I don't want to say the ship has sailed, but like, it doesn't make any sense. It made the most sense to make it right now. They both went to Australia and they both just did a tune-up fight, and now Bakram is calling out Keith Thurman. So, you know, would Keith Thurman oblige Bakram Murtazalia? Keith Thurman's a guy that's made a lot of money in his career. Sure, this would be an opportunity for Keith to become a world champion again, but Bakram is not a guy that I believe would probably be at the pay grade that it would take Keith Thurman to get in the ring with him. So, look, Keith Thurman, I don't think he's scared to fight anyone. Honestly, I don't. But the dollar's got to make sense for him, especially at this stage of his career. So, you know, PBC is willing to pay for that fight. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I love Keith Thurman, and I think what a great test that would be to fight Bakram. But I don't know if that fight's realistic. So, you know, 154 to me kind of screwed itself. It screwed itself in a major way because, you know, we should have got Fundora versus Zayas. We should have got Thurman versus Tszyu, and that's what it should have been. But now, I'm not gonna shit on Fundora versus the Tszyu rematch because I think it is a good rematch. I just think it's not higher on the priority list than Zayas versus Fundora. I think Zayas versus Fundora, two young guys, you know, one Puerto Rican, one Mexican American. You know, that would have been fire. But you know how boxing goes. Boxing's gonna do what boxing's gonna do. So hey, we don't get mad about it. We just talk about it here on True School Sports, and you know, give you guys a large picture. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Fundora not fighting Zayas? Now Tszyu isn't fighting Thurman because Fundora and Tszyu are fighting each other. Now Bakram's calling out Keith. You know, leave all that in the comments down below. I want to hear from you guys on this one. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.